Welcome to Give Yourself Grace. I'm your host, Grace Perry, and I am so thrilled you're here. As a content creator and coach, I've built a six-figure business to help women step into their power and share their stories with the world. My mission is to empower you to embrace your unique journey and every season this life has to offer. If you crave entertainment, guidance, and tools to transform your reality, you have come to the right place. So come with me on this adventure and truly give yourself the grace that you deserve. Let's dive into the show. Welcome back to Give Yourself Grace. In today's episode, we're diving into the ultimate question. If I had to build my six-figure business from scratch, what would I do? Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your journey, this episode is packed with actionable insights to guide you towards success. Let's jump in. First things first, I'd focus on my inner child and I'd ask myself, why? Why am I doing this? What is that deeper purpose that's driving me? And if I handed you $250 million right now, what would you do with it? When I ask myself this question, it always comes back to wanting to drive more impact. Like if I handed you 250 mil, yes, you'd travel, you'd buy the dream house, maybe splurge a little bit, but eventually you'd feel the urge to help people and to make a greater impact. And to me, that is the true purpose of why we do what we need to do, right? What you need to tap into, and ultimately what is going to be your why. So I would first start with identifying why the heck you are deciding to build this six-figure business. And for me, that purpose has always been rooted in creativity. And from a young age, I was so captivated by the idea of capturing moments. I picked up my first camera in elementary school, and I just felt this deep connection to storytelling through visual media. In high school, I was actually really lucky to have access to a film and television production elective. Shout out to Mr. Christensen at Marblehead High School. And basically, I took every class I could, learning how to create films and short films and edit, and even starting my very own film club with several friends. And I'll just never forget this project where my freshman year, I interviewed fellow students. And then 4 years later, I revisited those students and re-interviewed them as seniors and was able to just document their growth through my senior project, which I called the Time Capsule. And even as a senior in high school at like 17 years old, I knew that storytelling and connecting with people were my calling. And I was just always so drawn to a camera. And it's wild to me because I didn't realize it at the time, but that is where my future has taken me. And all these years later, I'm sitting here filming myself in this video podcast and talking into a microphone to connect with you. And so when I really look back on my younger self and connecting to my why and to my purpose, I constantly am coming back to what I loved to do as a child. And even as a child, what did you love to do? Because for me, it was I was playing school, I was playing office. Me and my best friend Kirsten would give candy to fellow students. We were in fourth grade, giving candy out to be teachers and for people to do their homework. And with my sisters, I would choreograph and do dances and shows and singing. I love to sing, and all of it reminds me of that element of play and storytelling and, the world's a stage and what are you showcasing, right? And so I just always loved to inspire and to motivate and also just to be creative. And I actually have a photo of myself when I was 5 years old. I created, some people have lemonade stands. I did have lemonade stands, but like I created a art stand and I literally sold my pictures for 25 cents to my neighborhood. And I have this picture, it's actually on my desk to always remind me to come back to my why and to come back to my inner child, because younger Grace was just so excited about life. Like, remember that little inner kid, like who you used to be as a child. And maybe that looked differently for you. But for me, like younger Grace just loved to have fun, to play, and to like make people smile. And I always just love tapping back into her because I do believe that your younger self exists within you always. Like all of the versions of you just are together to make who you are today. And so if I were starting a business, again, I would sit with my inner child first and my purpose and really get clear on why I am doing this so that I can consistently show up and make an impact and make a lot of money by doing so, right? And so the next piece is, of course, looking inward and asking yourself, like, what do you love to do? So maybe you're listening right now and you're curious about entrepreneurship, but you don't know where to start. What marketable skills do you have? And I actually want you to grab a piece of paper, maybe it's a notes app on your phone, and start writing down all of your marketable skills. So for me, when I first graduated college, one of my marketable skills was bartending. Okay. Right. Like I want you to think of anything that someone would pay you for. Like I was a nanny, I was a babysitter, I worked in a jewelry store, I worked in a bakery. Like I had all these different jobs, but at the end of the day, they're marketable skills, right? So like what past experience do you have and what did you like to do? So for me, like I wrote down bartending, but really when I broke down bartending, it wasn't, pouring drinks that I liked to do. I just liked to connect with people and listen to their stories and ask them questions about their life. So what marketable skills do you have that you could then translate into entrepreneurship or starting a business from scratch, right? And also, like for me, it was the ability to create and capture memories. It's going to look differently for you. So ask yourself those questions like, what can I offer? And how can I serve others? Now, don't get too caught up in like comparison and really don't allow the self-doubt to creep in, because I do firmly believe that all of us have gifts. All of us have expertise to share. And maybe if you are just starting out with entrepreneurship, like you might be a new entrepreneur, but you're not new to life and to experience. Like you have passions and marketable skills that you can now move into your entrepreneurship and your business. So like everything you've learned along the way has got you here. And so now it's just time to align your passion with your marketable skills and with that service, right? Where your magic will happen. And maybe it's not just service for you. Maybe it's a product that you want to create, right? So whatever that looks like for you, I want you to journal on it and get really clear on what lights you the fuck up. The power of networking is what I want to also instill in you too. So if I were creating a business from scratch, I would focus 90% of my time on networking. Networking is the heart of any successful business. It's how I've gotten to where I am today. I want you to constantly put yourself out there. Put yourself in rooms that make you uncomfortable. And, I don't mean go into like blind sex parties. I mean like go to like networking events, right? Put yourself in rooms that make you feel uncomfortable. When I say uncomfortable, that stems from maybe a social anxiety, right? Because there are women and other men doing things that you want to do, but you don't know how to get there. So when you put yourself in those rooms, put yourself into a room that will expand you. Fill a room with expanders, right? So how do you do that? We live in a social media world, and, looking at places like Eventbrite or even just Google searching networking events near me or specific keywords like women in business, women entrepreneurship, like those are all great too. Now start small and attend free events first. That way you can observe the energy in the room and recognize if it's something that you actually want to invest more in. So the same thing goes with like coaches, for example. I don't think you need to go and spend a ton of money on a coach to start. Like maybe you download their podcast or you see what workshops they have for free. Like get in their energy and observe and like recognize if it's an energy that you want to consume, right? Are these people your people? Are they people that are doing what you want to do? I've been to a lot of networking events and I can pretty much tell you in the first like 10 minutes if the vibe is good. Like if the vibe is high, I'm going to be staying. If the vibe is not high, I probably won't come back. But I found that there are higher vibes when you do invest. So of course, go to those free networking events. But if you are finding value, the next step might be to invest in a coaching program or invest in an event like maybe a gala or, brunch or a luncheon or something that they're offering that is next level, right? Because the vibe is always going to be higher when you pay for it. I'm just being brutally honest. I've paid for a lot of networking experiences and I've gotten so much more out of it when I have invested. And that just goes for anything in life too. But of course, you want to make sure that those people that you're surrounding yourself with are at the level of business that you aspire to reach. They say that you are a combination of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So really recognizing that and recognizing where you're spending your energy, your time, and what environments are you actually putting yourself in. I had to quite literally move to Denver to up level and to put myself out there in my business. And I just was not growing in my hometown. I wasn't growing in my home state of Massachusetts, and I wanted a different life for myself. So sometimes that looks like putting yourself in rooms or putting yourself in states or different other places, to grow and to really aspire to greatness. But of course, you can make the most out of anywhere that you live, right? Next, I would create business cards or a brochure and just focus on building genuine connections. Remember, networking isn't about collecting contacts. I can't even sometimes when I've gone to I'm going to be real with you guys. I have been to so many networking events that I can't stand when someone takes my business card to add me to their email list unless we've talked about it and they are offering something that I want a part of. But I can't tell you how many times I've introduced myself and then that person has just put me on their email list and we've never spoken again. I just think that's so weird. And I definitely would not recommend doing that. I've also been totally catfished when it comes to friendships and networking. So one example is a woman I met on a networking Facebook group, and I had just moved to Denver. I was so excited about being here. And I go to Panera to meet her for coffee, and she starts talking to me and we start connecting. And I find out she's literally just recruiting me for her Arbonne hair program. She doesn't need more friends. She literally was just trying to get me in a pyramid scheme. Not that saying Arbonne is a pyramid scheme, but you know what I mean? That stuff is so trash to me. That is ridiculous. Do not take advantage or feel and I feel you, and maybe you can resonate with that. When you put yourself out there, sometimes it does not go as planned. And I literally walked away from that meeting and I was I was just catfished. I thought we were connecting as friends. And she didn't want to foster a meaningful relationship. She wanted me to join her Arbonne team. I didn't even know her. At least take me out for a second date first. It was just within 10 minutes I knew. And those are not the people you want to put yourself around, right? To me, that is so just gross when you're taking advantage of women who are vulnerable. Being an entrepreneur is very vulnerable. And so fostering meaningful relationships to me means everything. And it should to you as well. And I think that's why I have built such a successful business, because I really freaking care about the people who enter my life. And it's not fake. It's legit. It's me. This business is my heart and soul. And I'm looking for power partners and partnerships that genuinely mean what they say and are looking for that genuine, meaningful connection as well. Because business there is a fine line, of course, between business and pleasure in personal life, but it does ebb and flow. Like when you're an entrepreneur and you're putting your heart and soul into your business, those relationships, like you become friends with your clients, like those lines kind of become blurred. And so when you make the leap from corporate to entrepreneurship, it's really important to recognize that your partnerships and your relationships are freaking everything. And people talk, people know, they see what you're doing and they talk about you. And you want to surround yourself with people that mention your name in a room full of opportunities, where you can trade maybe services or collaborate, where you gain exposure and build trust. That's also how I've built my business, is really putting myself out there and oftentimes offering myself for free and my art, my creative exploration, because I know that once people get a taste of what I have to offer, they want more and they want to work with me. And that's where your magnetism comes into play. And when you are creating from a place of love, I think people just naturally gravitate towards that. And so when it comes to like collaborations, I want to be really mindful when I tell you to, if you are interested in growing a business to six figures, there are ways that you need to be cautious when it comes to trades and collaborations, because it's so easy to get so excited about, partnerships and all these things, but it needs to be beneficial to your growth. So some questions that I do ask myself when it comes to partnerships and collaborations and trades, especially. So when I say trade, it's when you trade your product or service in exchange for exposure or connection or community, right? Ask yourself, did this trade or did this partnership introduce you to new opportunities? Okay. Ask yourself, did you gain valuable lessons or insights? Did it bring new business or connections, right? Eventually, I'm going to be very brutally honest with you, there is going to be a shift in your energy. It's really going to be time when that shift occurs, the universe kind of like shakes you and is like, come on, Grace, or come on, you, like, let's go. Stop trading and start charging. And there's going to be a shift. I'm not saying that every product, or every project I have been on has been that shift, right? Like I still to this day, even though I've built a six-figure business, I do take trades and I do like to offer my services to the projects that I are like lit up about, right? And some of those projects have been nonprofits who might not have a certain budget. So like there have been times where I have ebbed and flowed within this, and I think that's really important. But when you're first starting out, you have to do trades and exchanges for that growth and for that connection, but you have to recognize when the shift is necessary, because in order to level up and quantum leap in your business, you are going to have to charge for your time, right? And so that's where the inner work becomes so crucial. And if I were talking to my younger self, I would tell her the same thing, like recognize that your worth and your value is so fucking important. Like you are the only person who is going to set boundaries for yourself, who is going to demand your worth and charge your worth. You're the only person who's going to raise your prices, which I think you should do every single freaking year. Hello. But I just want you to know that knowing comes from the inner work, and recognizing those blocks that you have. Like I have had emotional blocks around my worth for so long that I accepted trades and exchanges for my love and my art for too long, to the point where like I was so burnt out and I was like, why am I doing this? But it was because I didn't value my own worth, and I didn't align my value to my rate, right? So there's going to be a time where that trade is going to shift into that rate. And so you want to set a rate that reflects your worth and feels super aligned and like delicious within your expertise. I do not want you to wait decades to charge what you're worth. And one lesson that I'm so proud of my dad is just amazing. He listens to this podcast like religiously. So Dad, if you're listening, I'm going to talk about you for a second. But my dad has been an incredible entrepreneur for like over 30 years of his life. He is a carpenter. He owns his own business in Beaufort, South Carolina, and he builds homes and does renovations as a general contractor. And it's crazy because for so long he has been working, right? And his work is very hands-on. He works one-on-one with his clients. He has a team of subcontractors that he hires. And I was talking to him last year and he was telling me about these subcontractors. So like, plumbers, electricians, so he'll bring them in for the project to complete the renovation or the home. And he was telling me their rates. And I just asked him, I was like, so what are you charging for your pricing? And once we started talking, I was like, Dad, you need to be charging more than your subcontractors. And I was like, you need to be making at least $100 an hour or more, right? And I was just so proud of him because he came back to me a few weeks later and he was like, you were so right. I need to charge more. And now I'm charging more for my hourly rate. I'm like, hello. He's had 30 years of experience and still was, undervaluing himself. And I'm so glad that he's owning his value and stepping into his worth. And Dad, I love you if you're listening. And I'm just so proud of you. But, his story is such a powerful reminder that your expertise deserves fair compensation. And it's so important to demand that because you're the only person who can do it, right? And so, yeah, I just had to share that with you. Now, if I was starting a 6-figure business from scratch, I would do my market research. Okay. I want you to really dive deep and do like an FBI investigation into your market research. Understand your industry. I want you to research your competitors, but not with envy, with curiosity and respect. Recognize an abundance mindset where there's room for all of us at the top and at the table. Okay. And when you see someone that's achieving what you aspire to, I want you to take it as a sign that it's possible for you too. And that when you put in those reps, like entrepreneurship, I want you to think of it as like a gym. You're going to the gym, you're working out, you're lifting those heavy, crazy weights. And I just see you doing that. And when you put in those reps, that's how you're going to get there. And that's where you're going to deposit those little consistency, coins into that bucket and build that confidence too. And so really operating from an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset, and really ignoring the comparison trap, recognizing that when you look at your competitors, when you're researching your industry, you have your own unique edge that will contribute to this life and to this business. And no one can compare to what you have to offer. And I think that's so important. Recognize that you can be inspired by your competitors. You can be a little jealous, of course, but that you have your own creative edge and that you can do whatever you set your mind to in this life. And it's not a place of scarcity. It's a place of abundance, and we can all rise together. And, your clients are your clients and their clients. It's all just a big community of support. And so I've really believed in that. And I think that's what's really helped me succeed is not by being jealous of my competitors, just admiring them and realizing they're at a different chapter than I am. And that I too have so much to contribute to this industry. And it's just so interesting to realize that your industry is always going to be changing. And so you're going to be a forever student as you create this business. So always be putting yourself out there, be learning new skills. Don't be like me and buy 8 million courses. I have a backload of courses that I need to take. I'm working on it. It's on my list of things to do for this year. But, just be that forever student. And YouTube University is so great for that too. Another thing is to operate your business with integrity. I want you to be so kind and consistent in your business practices that people shout your name from the rooftops. And if you preach values like you support women, I want you to make sure that your actions align. People pay fairly. And, when it comes to supporting other entrepreneurs, I've really tried to recognize people and meet them where they're at, right? And like paying people fairly and like avoid taking advantage of those free trades or free work to whatever extent that you can. And honestly, like I've found that the clients who truly value you will honor your worth. And there is an inconsistency and I have come across like very hypocritical entrepreneurs who say one thing and do the opposite. And I think it's important to recognize when you see examples of that and really choose who you want to work with wisely when you can. You know, and of course, I understand you're building your business, but over time, I want to see and meet people for where they're at and love people regardless, of course, come from a place of love and abundance, but also just value your worth, right? But yeah, that's what I would say about that. Now, in terms of content creation, if I were to build a 6-figure business from scratch, I would focus on consistent content creation. I want to master it, right? And social media is just such a powerful tool for advertising, for marketing, that setting a schedule, committing to it, and consistently sharing valuable content is so important. And I really just want you to show up authentically, and that's how your ideal clients will find you. It's almost like free real estate for you to tap in and to really build that business and to generate income with social media in mind. And I think it's so hard because there's so much noise on social media, but really creating that foundation of content for you to build your business is so crucial to really attracting clients that just will magnetize to you. And doing that by like sharing your story, showing up consistently, and just like being authentic to you is how you're going to call in those ideal people. And of course, you call in those ideal people through your magnetic energy and positivity. If I was starting a business from scratch, I would use my energy as my superpower. I really do believe that just enthusiasm, joy, and radiance are contagious. And when you genuinely show people that you love what you do, people are just naturally drawn to you. They're like, how can I get some of that? What's her secret sauce, right? And I feel like many of my clients become close friends because of the energy that I put into them, into this business, into the world. And trust in the universe. When you fully commit to your dreams, the universe responds tenfold. It's crazy. Like, I will never forget. I just kept hearing these whispers to the universe, with God, like whatever you believe in. I just kept hearing these whispers. And I'll never forget, like in August of 2023, I let go of all of my side hustles and went all in on my business. I have had my business since 2019, but I had been bartending and, doing consulting and in corporate and all these things that I didn't put all of my energy into the Grace Perry Productions basket. And it was like the universe had my back. And as soon as I gave my 2 weeks notice and like really dove into my business, opportunities just came back and like flowed into my life. And I just think that's such a testament to the power of just faith and being so committed to your dreams that the universe provides. And universe, higher power, whatever you believe in, just trust and lean into that fear and that discomfort and recognize that there's so much abundance and love and excitement on the other side. And of course, you can't be an entrepreneur and build a 6-figure plus business without embracing failure. And I ask you this, what is the worst that could happen? Okay. What, you lose money, you fail, you look foolish, right? Maybe your ex-boyfriend stalks you and sees all your content, or your, ex-best friend judges you from your new business, like whatever it might be. These excuses for why you are not going after your dreams and stepping into, entrepreneurship or whatever that looks like for you, those are just stepping stones. I always think to myself, and no hate for anyone who works in the fast food industry, because I think, to each his own. And of course, like business is business. But if all else fails, I would work at McDonald's and bring the same high vibe to serving McRibs as I do to running my business. Like, I am not ashamed to work in any type of industry if that means, like, if I were to fail and have to do that, like, I'll do it. I will do whatever it takes to make my dreams a reality. And I know that you too are questioning that, or even like considering doing that. And I think failure is just another way for us to lean in, to learn, and to grow. It's essential to our success, and we can't be afraid of it. And so, of course, I give you these tips and these tools because I know that they could help you if that you are feeling called to entrepreneurship. But not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. If you're curious, of course, that curiosity is worth exploring. And I've been on both sides. I've been in corporate, I've been an entrepreneur, and I found my passion in building my dreams instead of someone else's dreams. There's nothing like being in charge of your own destiny, shattering your own glass ceiling and the glass ceiling of thousands of women before you, and feeling that limitless potential. And of course, if you're ready to take that leap, just know that you're not alone. This journey is challenging, but it's incredibly rewarding. You've got this, and I'm here cheering you on every step of the way. Thank you for listening to Give Yourself Grace. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and share it with someone who might need a little extra encouragement today. And until next time, keep dreaming big and giving yourself grace.